Hi, my name is David McLeod. I believe it was Jesus who admonished us to love our enemies. I first heard this phrase when I was a fairly young boy, and I remember what a hard time I had accepting that statement. It seemed so contradictory to me, especially given all the potential punishments that came with failing to observe and obey all the different rules and commandments that were in the Bible. On the one hand, we were told that we were supposed to punish all evildoers. On the other hand, Jesus was telling us to love our enemies. Needless to say, the whole picture was very confusing for me, and I didn't know how to resolve my confusion. But as I did a lot of my own personal growth work, my concept of love shifted dramatically, and I began to understand and experience the notion of unconditional love. At the same time, I became more and more aware of certain discomfort that I would sometimes feel within myself whenever I saw certain characteristics, behaviors, and attributes showing up in other people. I came to learn that my discomfort stemmed from projection, a process by which we attempt to hide certain parts of ourselves that we disapprove of, and then imagine those aspects showing up in other people, where we can see them clearly and justify our harsh judgments of them. As I learned more and more about these projections, and I began to admit that what I was actually judging was something inside myself that I didn't like, I started to look at those disowned characteristics and to bring the loving light of healing to them, so that I could integrate them back into myself and begin moving myself more towards wholeness. Now, although it was difficult for me at first because I had to admit to flaws that I had tried so hard for so long to hide, after a while I actually started enjoying the process because I was finding out, or more accurately remembering, so much about myself. So in a relatively short period of time, I actually found myself loving things about me that I had previously disliked. And when I love them, they seem to have much less negative energy within me. Nowadays, whenever I find myself hating someone who might seem to be an enemy, I remind myself that I'm just seeing something within me that, for whatever reason, I decided a long time ago that was a bad thing. This immediately opens me up to the possibility of healing something that is still wounded within me. And when I do that, the energy of hatred and judgment dissipates very, very quickly, and I find myself returning back to unconditional love. When you find yourself in the space of disliking something you see in someone else, consider it a blessing that maybe a hidden part of you has been reflected back to you very clearly. Seize this opportunity to love that part of yourself without judgment or condition, and forgive yourself for holding such strong judgments against it. As you do this, just watch yourself grow ever closer to the magnificence of who you really are.